Hi, I'm Carla Schaefer, Auntie Beads designer, and I'm going to demonstrate how to make a necklace using bead cones. For this project, I'm using four different strands of turquoise. It does not matter, I'm doing a random stringing, so it'd be whatever bead you would want to use, but I am using a 4mm, an 8mm, and then two shapes of turquoise beads. I'm also going to be using a variety of bally beads. I think I probably used 3 different types of bally beads. And of course you will need some bead cones. I'm using an ornate bally bead cone, and you will also need a toggle, and I'm using this hammered style toggle. You will need at least, I'm doing a 3-stranded necklace, so in this case you will need at least 6 crimp beads. You'll need a 20 gauge sterling silver wire, and for tools, for beading wire you will need a .018 bead-along wire, 49 strand. And for tools, you'll need a nylon plier to straighten out your wire, chain nose and round nose pliers, and a nipper tool. Okay, I've already strung just about all 3 of my strands, and I'm a big fan of random stringing, so there's no pattern to this, and I've just picked things up randomly. The only thing I will say is near the ends where the beads are going to feed into the cone, you do want to keep those a little smaller. So I'm just going to add a few more beads to this strand, and then I will show you how we can prepare the sterling silver wire so that we may clasp, or rather crimp, these 3 strands into the eye. So all I'm going to do is just string a couple of beads on here to finish the strand. And as you can see, what I've done on the length of these strands is anywhere from 16 to 17 inches. You can do it shorter because then that determines how much you want on the end when it goes into the beading cone. But I've done anywhere from really 15 to 17 inches. So if the strands are different lengths too, that's quite alright as well. So I'm going to show you how to use the sterling silver wire to make the eye to feed into the cone. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to just measure about 4 inches of it and cut it with the nipper tool, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut a second piece. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a wrapped loop on one end of this. And the nylon pliers is an optional thing. The wire tends to coil because it's been in a coil or curve, so I'm just going to take the nylon pliers and just going to run the wire through them, and that's just going to straighten them out a little bit. And then we're just going to make a simple wrapped loop with our round nose pliers. Since I'm putting 3 strands into this, I want it to be a fairly good sized loop. So I'm going to do it probably about the middle part of the plier, and I'm going to bend it over at a right angle. And I'm going to bring it over. And then I'm going to, now if you've got a short wire like I do here, this is when the chain nose pliers come in handy. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab a hold of the little tail, and you're going to wrap it around. It's a good way to use, your wire wisely, and it's also a little easier less waste, but easy to wrap. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to do the same with the other. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each strand, I'm going to put on a crimp bead, and then I'm going to string the wire through the loop back through the crimp bead. and then I'm going to crimp. And actually, since this isn't going to show, it's going to be in a bead cone, I am simply going to flat crimp with my chain nose pliers. And I'm going to do this with each strand. And it doesn't really matter in what kind of order these strands go in on the loop. It's going to twist and kind of wrap or hang in a different way anyway, because they're slightly different. They may be slightly different lengths and they're randomly beaded, so no worries as to how they should go in what order. And then I'm just going to slide everything down, and I'm going to go ahead and cover my tails with the couple of beads in each strand. And then we're going to work the other side into the eye, the wrapped eye pin that we've made. We do want to make sure that our strands go all the way down. And then what we're going to do is we're simply going to crimp these ends, and then I'll show you how to put it into the bead cone. Okay, after I've crimped all the strands in here, again, you just want to trim your tails. And I have everything strung onto the two pieces of wire where we've made the loops. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a bead cone, and we're going to slip the bead cone on, and see, this is why I meant about tapering or keeping your beads a little smaller up here, so that they don't actually go all the way up in there, but they will come out the bottom like that. And then the next thing you do is determine or decide on some kind of pattern that you want. And however much of this that you want on the very ends, and this is all we're going to do to add the clasp. So I'm just going to string a couple of beads, and this, the only time that I actually do go ahead and finish with a pattern in this type of a necklace is right here, so that I can keep it uniform in length. But you don't have to, but that's, in this case, I'm going to. And what I'm going to do is going to take 1/2 of my clasp. I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to start the loop. I'm going to slip on 1/2 of the clasp. And then I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to trim the excess wire. I'm going to tap it end in, just make sure it's good. And then we're going to do the other end. Hi, I'm Carla Schaefer, Auntie Beads designer, and I'd like to invite you to check out the Learning Center on our website for design ideas and jewelry making projects and other Carla Cam videos.